There's some Revelator songs that I'm like, man, we got to bring those back. But we've done so many songs and albums. There's like so much to choose from that I guess we don't think about it all the time.
You need to get you a really good slide player in Nashville, and you guys need to cover a Derek Truck song.
You know, he told me Susan wrote the song, which he was proud of. He said that with great pride, you know, the way you say nice things about your family.
From the first note with Tedeschi trucks, they just blow you away.
Yes, we will. I wouldn't argue with anyone that says that could be my favorite song on I Am the Moon.
He, signs my ticket, and I look over at Susan. I say, Susan, would you sign it too? And she goes, oh, heck yeah.
Kebby calls me and was like, hey, man, what are you doing? I was like, nothing. He was like, Derek wants to record some tuba stuff. I said, when do you want to do it? And he was like, let's do it Wednesday.
It was midnight in Harlem. And it caught our attention, man. And we started diving deep, and we're like, okay, we got to see these guys.
What's up? Welcome to the unofficial Tedeschi Trucks podcast. This is episode, 164. I am Adam Choit. To follow this show, it's at Tedeschi Trucks Podcast on Instagram. On YouTube, just search Tedeschi Trucks Podcast. If you're watching, you're already there. I'm going to put out an audio version of this episode as well. Of course, get that out later tonight or tomorrow. Do my best to get that out soon. At Adam Choit, Instagram, Twitter, if you want to follow me. Positive reviews on Apple Podcasts are appreciated for the show. Tedeschi Trucks Podcast will send you to a link tree for everything related to the show, all the social media related links, recent episodes, all that is there. But I want to talk about Chicago. The band played a show there and a couple of shows in Minneapolis, Friday and Saturday. And they sounded and seemed like they were super fun just based on what I've seen people posting and talking about. So I want to bring on Andrew, who was in Chicago. And we got Marc, who was there. John was there Friday, for Friday, Minnesota. And we got Marc, who was there Saturday. And Marc has more to tell us about. He had a special interaction with TTB and some local, let's call them young artists in the area in Minnesota. So let's bring them on and we'll recap these shows. What's up, guys?
Hey. Hello again.
Oh, I see you and I hear you. Well, hello again, John. We got newcomers, Andrew and Marc. That is so much fun for me to connect with new fans on, seemingly not every other day, but every week almost at this point, at least. I'm meeting new TTB fans. Marc, I should have asked you this before, but how do you say your last name?
Bonde. So
Bonde.
Sound out the E. Bonde. Bond with an E.
Gotcha. Very cool. I don't even know where to begin. I almost want to go right into Marc's special weekend with the band and then go into the music, but I have a feeling that we could talk about that the whole time and then the podcast will end. So we'll make it work. But why don't we go around the room, as I say, and start with Andrew, and you could tell me a little bit about like your TTB journey, musical journey, and how you ended up at the Chicago show. And I guess we'll dive into that one first.
Sure. TTB journey. I think it all started back in the day. It all started back in maybe 2006. I was about, I guess I was almost 20 years old back then, and I was just getting into the blues just in general, where, all my friends at that time were getting into more like, alternative rock, right? Like Muse was big, Black Keys, White Stripes. And I kind of like chose a different path. I kind of started delving more into the blues at that age. And there was a radio station in my city that would do a couple hours every Sunday, just devoted to like the blues hour. And that's where I first heard Susan Tedeschi. The first time I heard It Hurt So Bad, and just, that whole album. And I also kind of got listening to contemporary Chicago blues artists like Lil Ed and the Blues Imperials, Nick Moss and the Flip Tops, Joe Bonamassa. But that's when I really started delving in the blues. And first time I saw Derek was on the show called Studio Jams. came out in, I think, 2004, and I saw the episode in 2006. It was an episode. I don't know if you ever saw the show before, but it was a show that was kind of like basically it brought musicians together in a studio, and they would film a rehearsal, and they would record 2 songs. And the first time I saw Derek was Derek, I think it was Pat Metheny, Joey DeFrancesco, and then it was Victor Wooten, Jeff Coffin, and Kofi was there. And they did a cover of Stevie Wonder, I Wish.
Oh.
And that was the first time I saw Derek, and I was like, who is this guy playing the slide? This is like, it was life-changing for me. So I was already familiar with Susan. That's when I first heard Derek. And then I went out that day and bought Songlines. And just was obsessed with that album. I lived in North Dakota at the time, so we didn't really get a whole lot of traffic on the tour stops then. But Derek Trucks Band came to the Fargo Theater in 2009.
Wow.
On their last tour. So that was the first time I saw Derek, and obviously changed my life, my mind. I moved to Baltimore. I graduated college, moved to Baltimore, and then I was able to see the very first, I guess maybe it's like an experimental tour of Tedeschi Trucks Band before Revelator came out. And I saw TTB, maybe it was just Derek and the Susan Band at a place called Bourbon Street in Baltimore. Pre-horn section. I think it was still Matt Shaw and Madison on vocals, Falcon, JJ, Kofi, O'Teal, Derek, and Susan. That was the first show I saw, and I remember listening to sets on archive.org, like from, I think it was, maybe it was the first one of the first Peach Fest, whatever their like very first show. I remember just listening to that whole set, and then I knew the songs before they even came, and they opened with Midnight in Harlem, and it was just a crazy show. It was amazing. And then I moved to New York. A couple years later, I lived on the Upper West Side, so I was at all the Beacon shows for the next decade. Allman Brothers, as long as they were there, and TTB. Yeah, and then I moved to Chicago a couple years ago. So we always kind of do a tour back to New York when they play the Beacon or MSG. So the past few years have been like a little double for me. I get to see the Chicago shows, and then we fly back and do the Beacon shows because it's just, it's the trip of the year for us to go back to the Beacon. So, but yeah, that's kind of the whole thing. Yeah.
So you've seen TTB, sounds like dozens of times. It's something like that.
It's probably, I don't keep counting. It's probably 20 plus because it's just been,
couple dozen.
It was at least 2-3 TTB shows when they played the Beacon, and then the past couple years have been very lucky that we've seen a couple in Chicago, a couple in New York.
Depending on where one lives, and I guess finances and ability to, what's going on in personal life and things like that. If you love this band and you've seen them live once, you've seen them more than once. There's no one loves this band and has only seen them once. Unless there's barring extenuating circumstances.
They're an absolute bag of Lay's potato chips. I mean, you're not eating just one, you gotta have more. You come out of there and you're already horny for the next one.
Right.
That's a lot of mixed metaphors, but I'm right there with you, and they work. There's a method to the madness for
I'm
sure.
very lucky too that my wife, I think, has become an even bigger fan than me, if that's possible, and she'll buy the tickets before me. She's more obsessed than me, I feel like, which is great. So
why don't before we go into the Chicago show, why don't we go over to Marc, and you could tell me a little bit where you are and your musical journey. I know you're not a super fan, aka nutcase.
But
the three of us, but.
Yeah, I appreciate super fans, though. I understand super fandom came out of the Prince world, so I was able to see Prince a bunch living in the cities here. So I know about kind of laced potato chips and, not being able to stop. So I get that. I saw him about, somewhere to the tune of about 160 times. So
dude,
I get the idea of getting passionate about something and being like, I just want more. I saw, go ahead.
No, we're just reacting to what you'd said, that you said you've seen Prince 160 times, because he's an artist that I have seen 0 times and would have liked to have seen once. And I kind of assume that you might be a super fan of another artist, you know, guessing by the use of the word purple twice in your name there. But now we're getting
I
the
saw
story.
Derek Trucks and Susan Tedeschi at the Crossroads in 2010. And I very much enjoyed that. I mean, that was just a day of just getting your mind blown away, and just it was other than the 100-degree heat that, I mean, was just brutal. The show, the sound was great, and I was like, this guy can play. Saw him again at the Minnesota Zoo. They were doing shows there, and pretty much fell in love with Susan Tedeschi. Like, just big crush. She's just amazing. The sound was great. They were great. And I think that was and then this was the last time I saw him. I had tickets to go on Saturday originally, but the person I was going to go with ended up not being able to go. So I was like, all right, maybe I won't go. And I'd kind of, you know, just written it off as one of those things. I was going to parent instead. But my parenting actually got me to the show. So it was fortuitous, because, I mean, it was really good and really ignited, you know, what I loved about him the first couple times I saw him.
So tell me about the Prince connection, like the program you're part of.
There's a group called the Purple Playground. And this group started after Prince passed by a woman, Heidi Vader. And essentially it was really around, how do we carry on this Prince legacy? You know, Prince does a lot of philanthropy work. Prince is, you know, involved in the community. And she really had a vision to do something with youth around Prince. As part of that, she started a program called the Academy of Prince. And the Academy of Prince is mostly a summer program, though they've done kind of short versions of it, where they do 2 weeks of intense music.
Look, we're losing you.
Come on, Marc.
I think we're losing him. Maybe come boom him out and losing. We're back.
Nope, I'm back.
You're back.
I'm back. Yep. So they do 2 weeks of, you know, music with youth from 13 to 18, and they write music, they play songs, they learn about Prince, they go to the various sites, but ultimately they're producing music over that period of time. The head teacher there is Willie Adams, who is, you know, a music teacher by trade, spends his summer getting ready for this program. They do a good portion of it at the high school for recording arts in St. Paul with a guy by the name of T.C. Ellis, who used to, for those people in the Prince world, he used to rap for Prince back in about 1990. And they've been doing it for 7 years, and they're rolling through, bringing in, you know, a lot of the various players. I mean, Minneapolis is, you know, 2 degrees of Prince. Everyone's got connections. So those artists will come in, they'll play, they'll help the kids write music, they'll play with them, kind of get them exposed to that whole world. So this year, my son is involved in it. Doesn't meet quite the age requirements, but, you know, we're kind of connected to the scene, and he's got some skills as a 9-year-old guitar player. I sent you a video, Adam, you can check it out. So he's playing, and I was talking to the person that runs the program, and she said, hey, Kebby from Tedeschi Trucks coming in and gonna hang out, and we're invited to the sound check. And I said, great, wow. I'm in, because I always say yes. So essentially, I guess it's something that he does quite frequently around the country. Is he will find a music school, he'll come in for a period of time, and then he just hangs out with the kids. So he came in on Friday afternoon and spent a couple of hours hanging out with the kids, talking about music, playing music with them, and, you know, they had a good time.
Oh, yeah, there they go. I got the pictures right here. That's incredible, and I'm like not. I was gonna ask how I'm thinking in my head, how did Kebby get connected to you guys? And then I was thinking, oh, maybe he just reached out, because this is the type of thing that this guy seems to do. We all follow this band pretty closely, and we know Kebby is very philanthropic with his time and energy and money and spreading music and joy throughout the community. And he loves to talk music and share the joy of it and whatnot. So, like, I'm not surprised.
I talked to him quite a bit on Saturday, and I also talked to Xavier, who is Skip, who runs the tour's son, and he does like
right.
VIP
I connected
stuff.
with him also.
Yeah. So he's kind of was our guy walking us in, and what he explained to me is that pretty much this guy has been doing this for years, and every place they go, he finds some type of music school. And
we're losing you, but I think I know what you're saying.
Yep. Yeah, he finds a music school, finds kids, and goes in, and then he invites them into the sound check beforehand. So we got there about 3:15, walked in, were able to see the band warm up, and then they did the meet and greet, pretty much came over and hung out with us for 5-10 minutes. And then somehow, some way, the kids that we were with were like, oh, we want to go to the show. I was like, I want to go too. And, a few hours later, we were at the show. It's fantastic.
That's cool.
Great
Yeah,
day.
it looks like an amazing. It's such a memorable day, and these are kind of the days that can sometimes like change people's like lives. Like just like this kid. I don't know anything about this kid. You know this kid better than me, but like maybe
for sure
be on his way to be the next thing and change his life and all that. And I almost wanted to comment how you mentioned you said you were at the was it Clapton's Crossroads Festival?
Yep.
And you saw that early. That's something, and that was like they made like a DVD out of that. It's on YouTube. Yep. That's like a lot of people's TTB conversion story, how they discovered the band, how they first caught wind of one of them or the other, or playing this, or the first time they heard Midnight Harlem. So that's really cool that you were there, because I talked to a lot of people who saw that video and is like, I love this band now, but you were actually there live, which is cool.
Yeah, I was there. Great. The whole day was amazing, and their set was. I mean, dude, it was just fantastic.
You never know who's going to have like a life-changing, what day moment could be like a life-changing thing, or who's going to be seeing you, hearing you for the first time. I don't know who. I think it was like Joe DiMaggio was saying, oh, I have to play awesome and be ready and run out to first base every time, because I don't know, somebody could be watching me for the first time or whatever. We got pictures of Derek and them and with the kids and all that here, Sean. Look at it. It looks like super chill and
they ended up talking guitar. So that was really quite fun. So Mateo was telling him, hey, I play the guitar. And he's like, you play. And, we were talking about him, and and there's a lot going on at the time, but I get the impression he started right around 8 and really got into it.
This is your son?
He used the phrase. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing, dude. This is like these photographs. Wow. How special are these photographs, man? Like, seriously.
Yeah, so they're great. And, they were talking music. And, Mateo, I mean, he didn't know who Derek Trucks was before the morning, but maybe he knew it from Friday.
He will. He's going to now.
Oh, yeah. And he was way into it. I mean, he was jamming at the show. He's getting exposed to a lot of different musical genres. But one thing that Derek said was, at that age, they're just sponges, which is just the truth. I mean, Mateo's playing every day, and he's just, so the idea of getting him, in front of musicians like this, especially up close, kind of fuel that passion. We're all about it.
Yeah. Has he bought? Is he playing slide yet? That's the question I'm trying to spit out.
He is not playing slide yet. We'll see where he goes in the next few weeks. He's currently kind of down the Metallica road, so I mean, he wants that like heavy sound, but he's malleable, and he's just kind of various directions, and it comes back around.
It is that way for a lot of people musically, whether you're a fan or whether you're an artist pursuing your own sound or something like that. And I've had those conversations with people. It's like, oh yeah, I remember my parents would play blah 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 blah, or my friend played that, but I didn't really start to get into it until later in life. Now I'm in a band that plays blues or whatever the case may be. So it always does come back around these trends.
It's funny, yeah. My mom was a huge fan of the Guess Who, Fleetwood Mac, and Chicago. And at the time, like you're like, oh, this is old people music, right? But then when you get to a certain age, you're like, I love the Guess Who, Fleetwood Mac, and Chicago.
You get there.
Yeah.
You get there.
You get there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, these are great.
That's so cool. So cool.
Yeah, it was fun, and he liked the sound. I mean, it's just loud, and they play loud, and I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's this band is a force. Yeah, let me pull up the Chicago. We can go back to Chicago and dive into that music, and we could jump around and go on tangents, and everybody can speak whenever they have something to say and share. This is super casual, and there's a lot of overlap and things that will remind us of each other's shows and be relevant. So it's all good. I want to share the poster. Not AI.
There's been some excellent art lately. When we get to Minneapolis, I was gonna bring up the Minneapolis art. There's been some excellent art lately. Not the AI from the rocks.
Ultra's fantastic.
This is the part of the podcast where I asked the person from the city or who was at the show to explain everything we're seeing and why every little tidbit and the symbolism behind everything.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get a poster, or do you know anything about this poster, Andrew? You said you grew up mostly in North Dakota, so maybe you're like, I don't know anything about Chicago.
Right.
Are you living there
I grew
now?
up in North Dakota. I was in New York for 10 years. I lived like I'm a New York boy. I've been here for a couple years now. I mean, I can appreciate this poster. The Willis Tower, which I know we call it the Sears Tower.
Used to be, right?
The Sears Tower. We're not talking about the Willis Tower. But yeah, I mean, beautiful poster. Yeah, it's exactly like the view from the venue. Yeah, it's awesome. I love it.
What is this? What the lighter white that's kind of going behind the tower and then down through I guess the river and all of that looks interesting.
It could be, they do the same thing in New York. They call it like Manhattan Hedge, right? Where it's like the light. There's a certain part of the year where
twice a year you get Manhattan Hedge, where there's
Manhattan Hedge. It's the same thing in Chicago. There's a certain point in the year where you get this light that goes through the buildings. That's just like the sunrise. I mean, it's beautiful.
Right.
I mean, yeah.
So yeah, it's almost like a white sunbeam, I guess,
exactly.
Or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. All these cool posters always have so much great texture and depth and this is
that building in the foreground. That's the Hancock Tower with the somewhat triangular shape, if you will, the sloped walls. And
sure.
The antennae on the top. There's a fantastic bar restaurant on the top. 95th floor, I think it is, or 85th floor. Great views of the city.
Let's see if I can spot someone's plate of food in there now. Oh man!
Then obviously in the foreground, the Chicago River. They're very proud of the Chicago River, and they do a lot of cruises on the Chicago River, dinner cruises, and they got a fantastic architectural cruise they do.
Yeah,
there's Northerly Island.
Yeah, we got the
foil version too.
What's that?
There was the Minneapolis one. They had a foil version that kind of had a little bit of additional pop.
There was a Chicago foil version. Yeah, I saw that.
I don't have those. I didn't see a picture of those. I can try to grab one, but yeah, these are cool. The art. I could pull up the name of the artist as well for all these. They're on all the band's social media credited as well. The posters. This was just a drone shot, I think, that you sent me, Andrew. Right? Of the area. Super nice and scenic.
Cool. It's very hard to get to. We were kind of on the perfect storm of awfulness to get to this venue. It's very beautiful. Off to the left, off camera over there, is Soldier Field, and there was a Real Madrid soccer match happening. And then right behind the venue, right behind where these boats are, is the Shed Aquarium. And then right behind that, where the lake is over there, right off the lake is Lollapalooza was getting set up. So it was the perfect storm of a weekend in that park right behind. You see where the Shed Aquarium right there? Yep. Yeah, that grass right there. Yeah, that's where Lollapalooza was getting set up. So
a lot going on.
Everyone who went to the show can attest to how hard it was to get to this venue. We were taking a cab from River North, which is just north of that park right there, where the river is, where they do the architectural tour. It maybe took us an hour just to get halfway through that park right there, and then we decided we had to get out and walk. We were going to miss Margot Price, so we kind of walked most of the way, probably like 2 miles.
Wow.
Just down past the aquarium, then up to the venue.
Burning calories.
Beautiful venue. Beautiful. Yeah. Burn the calories. We, before the beer, burn the calories. And then, so beautiful venue, the perfect storm of how hard it was to get to, but it was beautiful. Yeah.
No covering there. Everybody's in the open, huh?
No cover. Everyone's in the open. Exactly. Yeah. Luckily, the show started at 7. Yeah, it was maybe like 88 degrees, which is hot, but it could have been worse.
Cool. I got
I
got it up here. Wawa, what is and what should never be. Playing with my emotions. Somebody pick up my pieces. Ain't that something? Get out of my life into who knows. Part of me, it ain't fair anyhow. I want more into Beck's Bolero. Come and go blues. Midnight in Harlem, yes, you will. Bound for glory. I can't make you love me. Gilded splinters. I've been listening to this. Someone did record this show. I'm not doing good at giving credit to the tapers or to the poster artists in this episode, but I appreciate everyone's artistry and efforts for sure. This is a solid set list, and I'm glad to see somebody pick up my pieces back in there. But I'll let Andrew tell me about his experience.
I don't know if there were some changes towards the end of the set. I don't know if you wanted to go through like.
What were the changes?
So they didn't do Bound for Glory. They did Made Up Mind instead.
Right.
And then they did I Can't Make You Love Me, and then they threw in a little soul
Sweet Soul song.
Sweet song. Yeah, and then Gilded Splinters. Yeah, slightly different, but yeah.
Right. They didn't have time for Bound for Glory, but they had time for a Soul Sweet song.
Exactly, which is fine. I'm still, again, one of the old school people. If you get Midnight and Bound for Glory in the same set, like you're very lucky. So I'll take one or the other.
That's true.
They did Midnight. Yeah. When I saw it with Bound for Glory, I was like, oh, come on. But they made up for it with Soul.
Yeah, I haven't really noticed that, but maybe that's true. You don't get Bound for Glory and Midnight in Harlem in the same set a lot of time because they both count as a Revelator song. So there's like so many factors that probably go into this set list. How many songs are we playing from this album? How many Allman Brothers covers do we have? How many Derek and Domino's covers do we have? How many, moments do we have for each member of the band to shine in there? But they always, Derek always seems to find the right formula. This is pretty damn solid.
It was pretty damn solid. Yeah, for sure.
You probably don't recall, Adam. We on the St. Augustine show wrap up, we talked about how great it would be to be a fly on the wall as Derek constructs these set lists. What goes through the mind and
I mean, I think we're pretty much over this 160 episodes kind of pinpointed probably what comes up. Just like achieving a balance seems to be like the goal of the goal. So like I think that's, and in fact, again, just thinking off the top of my head, factoring in even what did we play in this city, last time we were here or whatever.
I was going to say, not unlike his good buddy Warren Haynes, he always plays something sort of intrinsic to the city.
But what always jumps out at me about the set list is, of course, is like, what's new? What haven't we heard in a while? What's in a different spot? Like that's the stuff that always. So I've listened to somebody pick up my pieces a bunch of times this version, and it's cool to hear that and get that back into the fold. And who knows? Obviously, that's something that they've only played the last few shows. Perfect jam. I got to look up the riff to that, the guitar tab. That's key. I need to write that down as something that's on my to-do list.
Jimi Hendrix version. Yeah, I remember listening to one of your shows recently where they were talking about Isaac singing the Who Knows part.
Right.
But I remember Jan Rico used to do that with TTB. With Derek Trucks band. So I feel like it was like an ode to Jan Rico by having Isaac do it. I don't know if that's true, but it was definitely like
I think that's definitely true. And what a great observation. Give the drummer some, let him sing though.
Exactly. Yeah. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah. What else? Yeah. What else jumps out at you about it? I'll let you tell me. You were there.
Yeah.
How were the fans? How was the vibe?
Vibe was good. It was very full. I think the thing about Chicago, which I didn't, as a New Yorker as well, right? When they did the MSG show, there was the vibe was, we're used to multiple nights, like, oh, just one show, right? And that whole thing was like, hey,
We're all
let
spoiled.
let the band play Madison Square Garden, like, just relax, like, they'll come back. And they came back and they do the Beacon. But Chicago is kind of the same thing. At least we're used to multiple nights at Chicago theater, right? Kind of like the Beacon, right? It's Chicago theater is very similar vibes to the Beacon theater, even just the way it looks, the way it feels. Awesome venue. It reminds me so much of the Beacon, which is, I love Chicago theater just because it reminds me exactly of the Beacon.
100%.
Yeah, people go there. You go there for multiple nights, right? So, like,
I feel like I almost want to ask everyone what is their top 5 venues, because I sort of rambled off the top of my head. Maybe like not top 5 I'd like to go see or been to, like combining those into one list. If you haven't been to that many, or if you haven't been to, like, I haven't been to Red Rocks or the Ryman, but those I feel like would crack my list of places I'd like to see the shows. Do you have a top 5 either? That you'd want to see or have been, or a combination of that?
I mean, for me, Beacon is just one of those places where it's just historic, just in terms of Allman Brothers, everything. We go there again. We plan our vacation. It's like our, people go to Mexico, people go to Jamaica. We go to New York for the Beacon run.
I thought you were going to say Mecca. People go to Mecca. I thought that's where we're going.
It might be Mecca, yeah. But like, that's what we do. Like, we go to the Beacon just for the Beacon run. Like, it's just it's amazing. And Chicago theater has been a very close second to that vibe. I've never been to Red Rocks. I've always wanted to go, but those two for me are my favorite that I've been to. Yeah,
for sure.
Ryman all day. Ryman and Beacon.
Yeah, Ryman and Red Rocks are the two that I feel like are like the musts that I haven't been to. But
I think anyone who really loves the music that we love, anyone who loves music and that their artist goes to Ryman, that's a church, literally, obviously. That's a place people need to experience. I also am thirsting to get out to Red Rocks. I haven't been.
That's nature. That's nature's church.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm deep like that.
And I don't know if our Tedeschi Trucks goes out there, but the other venue I really want to see is I follow DMB also, and I'd love to go to the Gorge in Seattle.
Yeah,
it's outside Seattle, but I'd love to go to the Gorge.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else jump out at you about the set list, or you want to tell me about the show? I'll try to keep the train moving along a little bit here.
Yeah. I mean, the Led Zeppelin cover, right? I mean, so first of all, you start off with Wah Wah, and like you're off to the races right away, which I love when they open with Wah Wah. And then you go right into the Led Zeppelin cover. I remember the first time. They did that. I remember Derek did that at the Bonnaroo Super Jam, and I had the set list right here. Right, he did it with Shaka Khan.
That's on YouTube.
I think. That's on YouTube. Yeah, that was. God, what year was that? 2014, I think.
Something like that.
2014. Yeah, I remember. So it's cool to see them do that again. I mean, that's obviously huge. Playing with My Emotions, amazing. Somebody pick up the pieces. Ain't That Something is that one and Gravity are probably one of my two tops from the new, I'm the Moon album. We went and saw them in New Orleans. Was that already 2 years ago at Jazz Fest? First time going to Jazz Fest, but always wanted to go to Jazz Fest, and that was such an experience. Just the music down there, everywhere you go, Nashville, except where you're going to see swampy jazz, blues, funk music, like the Meters and all that. I mean, that one and Gravity are like my two favorites, and Gabe just kills it. all the time. Oh, ain't that something? Get Out My Life. I mean, I remember seeing, Derek Trucks Band do that. Pardon me, amazing. Alicia doing Aretha.
Yeah.
I remember I was lucky enough to run into some of the band members a couple years ago. So I've known Alicia for a long time. So I'm a huge Soul Live and Lettuce fan as well. So especially being in New York, I would see Lettuce and Soul Live all the time. And Alicia used to play with Lettuce a lot. She would sing. She opened for Soul Live at Brooklyn Bowl. So I knew Alicia before she was in Tedeschi Trucks Band. So when she joined the band, I was just ecstatic. And I've been saying for, years, like, give her a song. Can we get her own song? Like Mike gets a song. Everyone seems to get a song. And I was like, Alicia deserves a song. She's so good. So I was so happy. I mean, maybe it was a year ago, whenever they started doing It Ain't Fair, that Alicia got a song. And it's so good.
Yeah, I don't think it's been a full year since they started doing that.
Right?
But
yeah,
it's a show-stopping moment, and we talk about it so much on this podcast. But I'm like, oh, I want to but I'm like, I want to hear what he has to say about it, and all of your insights and thoughts about it. It's like obligatory, like must be discussed. It's like something that kind of does like jump out at you when you look when a set list. When I first see, what was the TTB set list from tonight or last night, and I'm like, oh, It Ain't Fair was played last night. I see.
Right.
I can part of my mind can like just go right to that moment. Like,
yeah, I remember when I saw her do it at the Beacon, was it just last year, or maybe it was the first time I saw her do it, but I was very lucky to run into her outside, stage exit, and I just was so happy for her. Alicia, like, you did it, like, you killed it, like, it was just she kills it every time. So I'm so happy that she gets to do It Ain't Fair. It's one of my favorite parts of the show, that if I get to see it. And then Anyhow, I think Anyhow has, it's come into its spot where it is, if you were to make a complete set list, of your dream set list, you need to include Anyhow for sure. I think it's reached that status where, like, it needs to be included in the set list.
Maybe it's their, like, because of the commercial, because of the band,
Right.
kind of the band sees it as one of their signature songs, perhaps.
Right. I remember they used to just throw in the little Chevrolet at the end.
Didn't get that at this show. But they've done that recently.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think it's reached that status where, like, when you hear it, it's just like it's a cool moment.
Marc is like, what the hell are these guys talking about? They Anyhow is the Tedeschi Trucks Band song that they used in a Chevrolet commercial, and then there's a song called Chevrolet, which Derek Trucks Band has covered, right? I think, and Mike Madison is saying, I don't know if I'm giving the full history of the song. It's a ZZ Top song originally, or it's a cover? Is it a cover? I forget.
So the version they do, I know, is a Taj Mahal version. I forget the original version, but I remember hearing this Taj Mahal version on the radio and thinking that's where they got it from.
But I guess, the thought is they've been playing him sometimes in tandem as sort of a tongue-in-cheek.
That's right.
Right.
Or contractual obligation. We're not quite sure. To Chevrolet, who used Anyhow in
right.
But hey, we're getting great music, and those are great. The signature TTB song, and something that cooks like Chevrolet, and gets us a cool mic moment.
Yeah. I mean, then I Want More and the Bex Bolero, huge, always. You get the Allman Brothers there and Come and Go Blues, and you get the Midnight. So the thing about Midnight, I'm kind of a Midnight freak, where, like, I listen to every version from every year. You know, like I kind of like obsessed over the solos, right? I'm obsessed with the solos, obviously Derek's solos, but that's a song that, you know, they've played so often that they do change it. It feels like almost tour to tour, just in terms of the arrangement, where they're just, you know, up until recently there was maybe like a 3-minute intro with Kebby doing a solo. You know, Derek leads in with Swamp Raga, or he leads in with Little Martha or something. But this one was the first time I heard it. They kind of went right into it. There was maybe, you know, 20 seconds, and then they started the song. There was no like little intro. And the intro used to, I think, like for the fans, the hardcore fans, like we used to, you could tell right away, like, oh, they're doing it. And it was a 3-minute like build up. Like everyone was like freaking out for 3 minutes until they started it. But yeah, so this one, they went right into it, which was cool. And then they had a little back and forth with Kebby and Derek in the solo, which I think was new to this tour.
Yeah, no, all these songs, including signature songs like Midnight, just continue to evolve on the road, and I think even like the different versions that they have evolved, like because they're just trying to probably pack their set list with as much as they can. So like, all right, let's shorten Midnight in Harlem a little bit so we can get some extra time. But sometimes that could mean just a shorter version. Sometimes that could mean no version. Sometimes that can mean doing something different than we did 2 weeks ago. Like that's kind of what keeps us all coming back, is that surprise for sure.
I think it was
during the sound check, he was definitely working something out with them. I don't know what song it was. I don't know the set list well enough, but you know, where he was, hey, we want to change this up or do this with the various people, and he was kind of walking to various folks, giving them some instructions. So the evolution of songs is, you know, we just need a little more like this, we need a little more like that. So he's making tweaks along the way for sure.
And they're so good at keeping it fresh for the fans, because look at how we talk about how many shows we've been to, and you know, I like to tell my friends, I say, you've been to 30 whatever shows, you know, how can you do that? Well, you never see the same show twice. You never see the same set list twice. And you will more than likely not see the song played the same way twice from the last time you saw it. They're just so good. And they're probably keeping it fresh for themselves, too.
I was going to say,
yeah.
Certainly, yeah. No, that's what keeps us going.
I remember telling friends every time I'd show them the band, and like, I have like, you know, 100 different versions of Midnight in Harlem that I can show them, and if they don't understand, I'm like, no, every version's different. Like, you don't get it, you know? It's like Grateful Dead, you know, it's like, you know, it's like, you know, all these bands where it's like every show is different, every version's different, you know, like there's a reason why I listen to different versions of it.
Yeah.
It's funny the way you describe yourself as a Midnight in Harlem expert, connoisseur, because there's people like that for other songs I just see posting in the group. What's his name? Who's been on the show a couple of times? There's a few Idle Wind experts out there who know every version and want to know what everyone's opinion of their favorite version of this song is. And perhaps I'm becoming a little bit that way with Passaquan, maybe. Like just the way I kind of like, I don't miss any. I like when Passaquan is played in a set and someone records it. Like I'm going to like, it's like essential that I hear that within, you know, shortly after it becomes available.
I remember one of the first times I heard Idle Wind at the Beacon, I was fortunate enough to run into Falcon after the show, and I told him, I said, you guys are one of the only bands that can take a song that's recorded. It feels almost acoustic on the recording. It's very like chill, and you guys make it into like a 12-minute epic mountain jam, you know, like just very soon after the recording. And I was like, it blows me away.
Well, they make it from 12 to 20 minutes is really what happened. The Passaquan, the album is 12 minutes, and then live
the double drum solo, and
absolutely.
18 to 25 is kind of like, I think, typically where it is.
Right.
For the most part, if it's under 18 minutes, I think it's probably that's like a shorter version of
Right. Yeah.
Passaquan. I'd be pretty.
Somebody's got a stone in their shoe.
Yeah. Right.
Should we get into the Minnesota shows a little bit?
Absolutely.
Let's do it. I got the set list and the posters from that one. Here is the post. These are colorful here.
Posters are cool. Posters are very cool. Marc can probably tell you more about the sculpture gardens than I can, but both of them pay homage to the sculpture gardens of Minnesota.
Nate Moonlife is the artist, by the way, for this one, and T. Shaw Designs did the posters for Chicago.
Right. That's the Spoon and Cherry, and then Saturday night show is what's called, I guess, the Cock or Hancock. It's a
hey,
rooster.
You said it, not me.
Hey, well,
this is a family programming. Okay,
all for art's sake.
No, these are super. These pop.
Yeah, very much so.
For sure.
My wall is full, but I've got to tell you, and I haven't told her yet. I had to break down. I got it. I don't know where I'm going to put it, but it's getting hung somewhere.
It's got to be maybe.
Yeah, I got one too. You could. They were sweet. They're really cool.
Yeah.
Need to rotate posters, start framing them, and just have like a rotation. Like, so, museums will sometimes lend out things to other museums and have a rotating exhibits.
Sure.
Exhibits kind of thing. I got the set. That was Friday. Saturday. Well, this is the Friday, right?
Yes.
I want more here, my dear. Anyhow, a 1999 cover, Just as Strange, Take Me as I Am, Part of Me, Presence of the Lord, Midnight in Harlem, Gravity, Don't Think Twice, Down in the Flood, How Blue Can You Get, Idle Wind, I Can't Make You Love Me, Keep on Growing. The last two being the encore. This is accurate, and I almost want to first start with the couple of Dylan songs in a row jump out at me. Obviously, Minnesota, Dylan's origin.
Right. Beautiful
1999 cover.
Oh,
that video
so
was
good.
shot there.
Sorry?
In the Armory itself. The 1999 cover, the video for that, like the music video that was on MTV.
The Prince video.
In the Armory. Yeah, the Prince video of it. So it's like an homage on top of an homage. So I sent you a picture, Adam, of the display in the Armory it's got like 1999 stuff, but that's because the video, and it didn't get renovated until 3-4 years ago, maybe. But the video was shot right in that space. So it's like the quintessential homage.
That's cool.
If you're gonna find a Prince song and you're playing the Armory, that's the one.
Where'd it go? Oh, I'm trying to pull it up here. Oh, I had it open. Let me. Is it the guitar? The guitar in the picture of Prince? Is it with the display here?
Yeah, that's right in the front of the Armory when you walk in.
This here?
And I didn't realize I had heard that they had played it, but I didn't realize all of that until I was talking to people when I walked in on Saturday afternoon.
Is this what you're referring to? That I have that I pulled up here. So you got that's the guitar from the video, and this is a still
from the video
here, all in a glass case.
And the video was there.
Nice, very cool.
It'll be a long time before I lose the buzz of that song. That was quite incredible. That was quite
they did this. I heard a snippet of they did this like really unique bluesy.
Yeah. They just to jump into the set list, I guess, not to take your MC.
Jump around. I'm pulling it back up as you speak.
The night starts out, if you will, fairly typical. I want more. Here, my dear. So we're already into it. A typical, but a good Tedeschi Trucks night. Anyhow comes on, and I lean over to my daughter as Anyhow is getting into the outro. And they're setting up a second microphone stand next to Susan, and you see Mike making his way front, and I'm leaning to my daughter Alex, and I say, we're going to get Chevrolet. They're going to do a song called Chevrolet. And I explained to her what we just talked about. And then you get this slurry, swampy blues, and you don't know what's going on. And Mike starts with, I was dreaming when I wrote this, right? And holy shit. And I mean, the whole song, and I don't think half the crowd really picked it up, like until he gets into the 1999 part. I mean, you were pretty sharp if you did, for sure. And if you're like Marc, and if you're a Minnesota native and a Prince hardcore, you absolutely got it. I mean, I got it from the opening lyrics. But it was one of those songs where it changed up genre so much that it really caught you, and it was stunning. It was stunning. They couldn't lose us the rest of the night after that tune. No way.
Wow.
That was once in a lifetime, unless they bring it out again. But it was cool.
They might. I mean, that's the thing with this, like, Deuces Wild tour of all these covers added. They've been playing. We were getting. They debuted the Zeppelin for the tour in LA where I saw them, but they've been playing the Bring It On Home and the What Is and What Should Never Be.
Yes.
They're leaning into those. I mean, most of the covers that they've either brought back into the set list this year or new covers that they've debuted as a band, they've been playing them more than once for the most part, I think.
Yeah.
We'll see. I'll let you steer the ship.
I really thought Prince was going to be their Deuces for the weekend for the two shows.
Yeah, I thought the next Saturday night we'd get another Prince cover,
and we talked about that. You talk about the possibility of it being a Dylan Deuces weekend, and it ends up being a Blind Faith Deuces weekend. Really, I don't know. Did they do Dylan Saturday night, Marc? Not to jump ahead, but
let me see. I have.
Go back and look at the list.
This was I got Saturday.
James Taylor, Joe Cocker.
This was Saturday. Do I have
I think they did 2 Bobs on Friday and 2 Almonds on Saturday. Yeah.
I mean, it's not an exact science to, like, it's not like they must play 2 covers of every band. It's just that they're playing covers. I mean, that's kind of been soft rules, so to speak, but
right.
How do I go back to the other?
I'm picking it up now.
Just as Strange, Take Me As I Am.
Yeah.
Andrew touched on AC, Alicia. I share the love of Alicia. Part of me, has a few lines of nice Alicia feature, showcasing her voice. Again, Presence of the Lord. Midnight in Harlem. Here's where Derek played with Kebby. Kebby brought it in. And this was more of the typical intro to Midnight in Harlem. And Kebby brought it in beautifully before Derek stepped up.
You know what I wanted to mention, I almost forgot, is that Ephraim had to step away from the band for personal reasons. The band announced, so we all hope everything's okay with him and the band and things on his end. But were these shows without Ephraim? Because I think they're just doing some shows without trumpet. Maybe if I saw
no. It's his name is Justin Johnson. He was with Marcus King. Or is with Marcus King, who must be on hiatus just currently. So Justin Johnson, in a town where Justin Jefferson rules the world, little NFL thing there. But Justin Johnson, he was in every song. I mean, he
got the jersey in my closet.
Oh, there you go.
Skol Vikings.
All Minnesota people. We got some comments here. The new guests are killing tonight, says Zach T. What's up, Zach?
Oh, thanks, Zach.
You guys are doing great. Is 1999 on YouTube? I checked like 24 hours ago, but I don't know if there is one. Someone posted a clip in one of the Facebook
I only saw it on one of the Facebook fan club pages. Yeah.
That's Suzanne. And what's up, David Flam? He's suggesting it was Blind Faith was officially the
Yeah.
The Deuces.
Yep. I would have to agree with him.
And he was asking about the trumpet.
Andrew mentioned Gravity. We got Gravity that night. Another great version of Gravity. Don't Think Twice from Dylan. Down in the Flood. And you had to know going in this was going to be a little bit of a Mike Madison centric homestand for him. Homecoming for Mike Madison.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Boy, Down in the Flood, he just killed it. And once again, the crowd just ate it up. I mean, I just love that when they bring it to a crescendo, and they do most every song anyway, but they bring it to a crescendo. And at that point, when Mike was killing Down in the Flood,
was it with Margot Price? These couple of songs.
Yeah, Margot came on. Yeah, that's an acquired taste. She's got a beautiful voice. She did a stretch in Don't Think Twice where it just, for me, it didn't fit.
It's okay.
I hate to be that guy, but she her own band, her own set, hour-long set was very, very good. Very good.
Did she bring out the roses every night? I know she did that in Chicago.
Yeah, she did. Yeah, she did the roses that night. Fun. Absolutely. Yeah. I sounded way too harsh. It was just that walk on was I don't know.
It's tough. It's tough to keep up with TTB. I watched some of her set was on the Nug stream for the right. For the Red Rock. So yeah, I was getting into that.
Yeah.
They do it up.
She was on there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. In fact, wasn't she wearing sort of a classic Loretta Lynn hoop skirt, red and white linen? Do I have
something like that?
The show right? Truly a country kind of look. And
country.
She comes out on night one in Minneapolis, and she's wearing black leather and boots and a black cowboy hat, and it was a black leather country look. It wasn't the hoop skirt and linen. It was different. It was different, but the music was good. I sound harsh, and I don't mean to.
That's all good. Good stuff.
But it was good. How Blue Can You Get? Always a classic with them. Always a classic. When they first started out, I was thinking we were getting I Pity the Fool. I leaned into my daughter again. I said, I think we're getting I Pity the Fool. She's probably got a lot to say right now with everything else going on in the world. I said, listen close.
That's one of those. They do sound maybe a little bit similar to the ear at first,
on the intro.
Yeah, you can be guessing for a few seconds. What is this? What is this one? This one? Is that one? This one?
Yeah.
There's a few songs like that too.
Absolutely.
Pairs of songs that sound similar.
We talked about Idle Wind, a beautiful version of Idle Wind. Awesome.
With Kebby flute.
Awesome drum off. Yes, Kebby on the flute, absolutely bringing it in. And he's nailing it. We all miss Kofi, obviously, but Kebby's picked it up beautifully. He's nailing it.
I remember, Adam, you mentioning it, just like how Kebby has his own flair on the saxophone, but when he does this flute intro, it's such a Kofi tribute.
Yeah, he's kind of channeling Kofi, or it seems like maybe just because maybe he didn't have the sunglasses on, I think, or when I was watching him at Red Rocks, or just had it was a different vibe because maybe it was more it's just a different instrument, it's a different sound. It's naturally going to be more of a chill vibe than a saxophone. It's really kind of the opposite end of the spectrum in some regards. So
but I think we all feel that, and we all think that as fans, like it's such a tribute, like it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's a different version of I said Kofi of Kebby. Well, yeah, of Kebby. That was what I meant to say.
Yeah.
So Saturday night, do you remember, Mark, if there was a trumpet player on Saturday? Because I definitely saw a picture when there was no trumpet
player on Saturday night.
There was
remember that.
There was not, or was?
I don't remember a trumpet player.
Yeah.
No.
Maybe not every night they're going to have a replacement. Suzanne's that says first night Red Rocks. I thought her hoop dress had red. I don't know. We're the fashion police. Also, we have a lot to keep track of.
Look what I started. I apologize.
No, it's all you're good. We're all doing great.
culpa.
Anything else jump at you about this set? Then we'll jump into Saturday a little bit and
they never miss. They never miss on keep on growing, and I love the habit of them coming out just Susan and Gabe. That's a wonderful pairing. Again, an homage to I think how Susan used to come out with Kofi and often open up the encore
song for you. They would do, that they've done
right, and in this case, she does a wonderful job of "I Can't Make You Love Me." Hankies come out, I think, sometimes in the arena when she plays that, sings that, and they roll into "Keep on Growing," which they never miss on. They absolutely never miss on. He's obviously a prodigy of Clapton and that genre, and that's in his wheelhouse, and it's beautiful every time.
Yeah,
a great night, a great venue, great service. Seems like a very well run venue. So yeah, great night.
How was the crowd overall?
I've already been harsh once. From my vantage point, I was lucky enough to be sitting in what they call a platform booth. They have boxes and booths along the side, and quite frankly, for the price of 4 good seats on the floor, you can get one of these booths. So I was taking my 2 kids and my daughter's fiance, and they'd all seen TTB before, but I just, on this visit here in Minnesota, I thought this was a great opportunity to treat them. So anyway, where I'm going with this is we had a good perspective of the floor, and there was, they were responsive at the end of songs, but there was a lot of sitting. And I don't want to get into the whole sit stand, and I just did. But I was kind of surprised because there was some good jam going on, and I could look straight down
John,
the
let's
floor.
talk about it.
Huh?
Let's talk about
it. No, I had a great perspective, and we all deserve. We all buy our ticket. We all deserve to enjoy the music how we can, and I don't think there was any controversy about what was going on. So. Not my circus, not my monkeys. If they wanted to sit, they could sit, obviously. I was just surprised because the music was top flight. It was top flight. And a lot of times they were in their seats. So different strokes.
It looked like a very standing venue from the photos. Like the floor section looked like it was very standing friendly.
Marc can speak to this. Sorry?
Have you been there before, John?
No, I haven't.
Normally that place is GA, so this was they certainly have seated shows.
Yeah,
but
we're losing them again.
I'm back. Bad internet. Normally it's like that whole floor area is general admission, so people are standing. This time they had seats.
Yes.
So it can fit 8,500, and for these shows they were under 4. So it was kind of a different vibe. And then on the GA side, people are like, it's a big ass long bar, so people are lined up kind of on both sides.
Yes,
it's a weird venue to see a show. We had. I think it was more lively on Saturday night. I felt like the crowd had a solid pop to it, and people were definitely up. And I'm standing with very small people, 9-year-old style. So we actually ended up leaving our seats because my 9-year-old couldn't see what was going on with people standing. So we went to the back and watched it. And I would say for the most part, the crowd was standing for most of the show. People were up.
Right.
And into
Saturday Night Vibe.
My son, who
a little higher level.
Yeah, my son who lives here had told me about the Armory generally being a standing GA, and that this was unusual that it was a seated reserve section. So
there
was a show in Aurora, Illinois last summer that my wife and I went to just to see the band, right? And the ticket said you can bring a folding chair if you wish. And so we were thinking, like, we don't need a chair. So we show up very early for gates open. It's an outdoor like theater, not theater, but outdoor like GA, and there's a lawn section in the back. So we show up early. We get up like front row, and then everyone around us has folding chairs, and we're literally the only two people who are standing in the middle, right in the middle, and then everyone around us is seated in folding chairs. And so it was a nice like 3-set show. There was it was Gabe that opened, Los Lobos, and then TTB.
Oh yeah.
And so Gabe was starting, and we were standing. Who doesn't? We love Gabe, right? We're standing.
Absolutely.
And everyone around us is now seated in a folding chair because it's in the suburbs of Chicago, and like it's a venue that I'm sure like they all go to for every show, like no matter who's playing there, right? It's like the venue of the suburbs that they just go to every weekend and see a show.
Yeah.
So we didn't know that. So everybody had folding chairs, and the two of us are sitting like we're standing in the very middle, surrounded by people sitting in folding chairs, and people were yelling at us to sit down, and I was like, we didn't bring chairs. I didn't, it said you can bring chairs, and I thought it was just for the lawn section.
Right.
Bring chairs. But no, the entire GA was no chairs. You can bring chairs. So at some point, people got really upset during Los Lobos that we were standing in front of them, and the security said, you guys need to move. And then I said, this is our favorite band. We came here early to be front row. I'm sorry we didn't bring a chair. Do you have a chair? And they said, we don't have chairs. And I was like, you guys have chairs. I know you have chairs. So they brought us 2 folding chairs from the back. And then as soon as we sat down and TTB started, everyone stood up. So we spent Gabe Dixon and Los Lobos getting shamed by people around us for standing.
That's funny.
Yeah.
The best part of that story is that you made security go to get you chairs that you never used during
exactly.
the
I was like, hey, this is the venue that seats like a few thousand. I know you have a folding chair back there. Like,
fine. You want me to have chairs? Go get me chairs.
Because we're not leaving the front row center section.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. Well done standing your ground. Should I pull up Saturday's set list here? I figure we can do that. Learn how to love. Don't drift away. Playing with my emotions. I'm the moon. Everybody's got to change. Sometime had to cry. Right on time, which hasn't been played in a long time, I don't think. Circles around the sun. Pasquan just won't burn. Stand back. Outside woman blues. Angel into sugary. Chevrolet. Made up mind. And then Fire and Rain encore. Space Captain. There hasn't been audio that's come out through this, and I know Mark's not a hardcore TTB nutcase like us, but if anyone wants to, we could all jump in and chime in and react to this set list. And Mark, you could tell me if about just your experience at the show.
The experience was great. I mean, and they were just bringing it from start to end. Band was great, sound was great. It was fantastic. I liked the end. I was explaining to my kids, no, they're going to turn off the lights and then everyone's going to scream and then they're going to come out. So it's going to look like it's over, but this is an encore. It's they've been to other shows, but you got to walk through the whole dynamic. And I was really surprised to hear Fire and Rain. I wasn't expecting that at all, as a youth James Taylor. And I thought it was a real gritty version of it. And I thought Space Captain was extremely timely. And I thought that they ended the show with a lot of energy with kind of the learning to live together refrain. And, I felt like it had a very fitting message given kind of the broader context. So it seemed pretty intentional in terms of the song itself. So those were quite fun. I liked the whole set. I was also managing a couple kids between it all. So there was,
distractions.
The guy at the show with a 9-year-old and a 12-year-old, the guy was probably the only one there with that. But Who sang Fire and Rain?
That's I was
Marc
gonna say
Rivers.
Marc tends
Marc
to
Rivers.
sings on Fire and Rain,
Yeah.
and I don't know if they've done this on this year or this tour. Did they do it once this year? I forget, but yeah, Marc does a great vocal on Fire and Rain, and that's the song I thought of when you were talking about. I figured it was talking about Alicia, needing. No, Andrew was saying how Alicia needs a song. I'm like, yeah, they all do kind of a song. Marc does have Fire and Rain. He comes down to the front for that.
And
But yeah,
Marc,
this is.
Marc usually has a big feature in Made Up Mind too, and as he did that night.
Right, but they're doing like the verses and like the full lead vocal. I think he pretty much has all of Fire and Rain. But this is stellar. You got a lot of things that we don't get a lot, haven't gotten off, and to Learn How to Love and Don't Drift Away has been cut back on. Had to Cry has kind of been cut back on a little lately. Don't
Drift Away. Don't Drift Away is such a cool, it's a B-side, right?
It wasn't on any album.
It wasn't on the album, but it was such a good song that I love that they just they keep putting it in rotation when they can.
Right. And Fire and Rain and Space Captain, those are songs that I think have both been used as a single song encore before, or can pretty much be used as a single song encore in terms of a song that they have the ability to extend and jam on, and I'm sure they did on both of these. But yeah, it's almost like a double encore in a lot of ways with that. So to get Fire and Rain, Space Captain, and Circles, and Passaquan, and Had to Cry, this is some epic songs within this set list. And
do we know how long that Mountain Jam was in between Passaquan? Was it just a riff, or was it minutes?
Oh, on this Saturday night show?
Yeah.
Was there? Do we know that for sure that there? I haven't heard, but was there a Mountain Jam tease on this? That's Circles.
Technically, she sang "Stand Back," and it sounded like on this particular evening that Gabe sang "Stand Back."
They share. I think do they share?
I don't know. I feel
I think they share the vocals sometimes for sure.
Yeah.
I feel like Gabe starts it, if I remember.
Yeah, maybe. I feel like I've taken up a lot of your guys' time already. Anything else about this show that jumps out at you guys?
No, good seats still available in Toledo.
Yeah, we'll talk about recapping St. Louis and Toledo as well for sure.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah, cool guys. I'll do my little outro. If we can chat a little longer if you want for a couple of minutes after. Thank you, Marc. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you for everything. I appreciate the time and the stories and the recaps.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Kiss my grandchildren. Good night. Thank you.
Do it.
Thank you.
Okay, guys. Peace. So there you go. What was that? Episode 164, recapping TTB in Chicago and Minnesota for a couple of shows with John, Marc, and Andrew. Good to connect with a couple of newcomers. Hope everyone's doing okay out there. Please check out at Tedeschi Trucks Podcast on Instagram. Subscribe on whatever platform you listen to podcasts on. Positive reviews on iTunes, Apple Podcasts are appreciated. TedeschiTrucksPodcast.com for everything related to the band. AdamChoit.com for everything else. TedeschiTrucksBand.com for everything related to the band. That's their official site. Buy tickets to shows, buy merch. Join the Swamp Family Fan Club for sure. Thank you to the band, fans, podcast guests, supporters, everyone. I'll keep everyone posted about recapping St. Louis and Toledo. Please reach out if you're going to shows in August. I'm going to try to recap as many as I can, but I think that's about all I got for today for now. I know I'm behind on clips. I'm thinking about that too. I'm like 5 or 6 episodes behind on putting out clips on social media of episodes, but I'm just trying to keep up with the band as they tour and relive the experience through others who have been there, certainly. But yeah, enjoy the rest of your evenings, and let's talk soon. Peace. Oop.